Hello folks, welcome to another video. Hope you're doing okay. We're back in the GA world for today's video, folks. We're going to look at an update, or updates plural, to this aircraft on thy screen, being the Cessna 414AW Chancellor by Flight Simware. I've released a few of these videos over the course of this add-on's life. So many updates, so frequent. I can't keep up, but eventually I press the button and download it and go for a fly, make a video and kind of run through the updates for my own knowledge, as much as anyone else's. So that's what I'm going to do today. It'll be another one of those type of videos. We'll go for a fly. It's going to be an FS economy run. We're in a part of the world that I don't get to very often, which I'm enjoying lately. I'm enjoying this opportunity to explore different parts of the world, and that's what this sim opens up opportunities to do. We're in Eastern Europe. I'll give you that much for now. We'll show you the flight plan in a minute. This is custom freeware. Actually, we've got custom freeware at both ends. This is quite nicely done. I'm not sure I can pronounce the name of the place that we're in, and I've just noticed that they've got two towers, one a little fancier than the other. What's happening there? I'm guessing that one has been decommissioned or something, and then they've gone with a fancier version, which looks more like a hotel. I'm seeing that as kind of hotel rooms with a penthouse on top for the true aviation tragics. You can simulate being an air traffic controller. That's what I'm going to run with. That's the story that's come to mind, folks. That's a hotel for air traffic control simulator enthusiasts. Let's run with that. Yeah, but nicely done. The airport here, and this might be a good opportunity to explore the flight plan, so let's do so. Alright, so this is the Flightus Planus. We're in Eastern Europe today. Now I say that with a tone of surprise in my voice, because I don't get here very often. FS Economy run, wanted to find a flight, well, with two criteria. One, that featured the Cessna Chancellor, rentable, and two, took me to a part of the world that I don't normally get to. Those two criteria have been met. Folks, we begin our journey in Bosnia and Herzegovina today, in a place called, well, I think it's called Banja Luka. Maybe it's Banja Luka, I'm not sure. If there are any locals from this part of the world watching this video and you wish to chime in and correct the old fella on his pronunciation, please feel free to do so. I do appreciate that feedback. And we're going to head across to Belgrade, to, I think it's the Nikola Tesla Airport is its current name, over there in Serbia. This part of the world, obviously, for those of us old enough to remember, saw a bit of action, to put it mildly, back in the 80s, early 90s perhaps. Yeah, I hope things have settled down since then. I do not profess to be an expert in Eastern European affairs, but here we are today, folks. Flight time of just over an hour or so, not too bad. I've got the vertical situation display. I've worked out how to present that, how to show that on the screen here in LittleNavMap. So that's what we're seeing. No problems with terrain. I'm going to try and cruise across at 7.5 VFR. I'm looking to fly. I'm looking to go low today after spending a couple of flights high in the flight levels. I'm looking to bring it back to where I feel more comfortable. Not necessarily more competent, but certainly more comfortable in the world of GA. So there we go, folks. Banja or Banja Luka, across to Belgrade. We're in the Cessna 414AW Chancellor, and we will have a look at the most recent group of updates en route. Let's go flying. So engine start has been achieved. It's a bit of ordinary weather-wise. the VFR flight. We'll see if it improves. We're kind of heading in that direction. It looks like it may improve out towards the east, which is where we're going. Let's hope so. The parking situation here is tight. We've just got clearance from that light, do we? Yep. I think we've got wingtip clearance if we hang a tight lefty. Let's bring some juice in. Hard left, and we clear the wingtip of the 310. We will. There we go. So we'll taxi down in this direction in front of the terminal building. Might have a little bit of a gawk there at the terminal building and different assets that the freeware developer has included in this airport. Very nice. Well, not that one. Not sure why that view went there. This view maybe. Here we go. ATR of some description. Nicely done. There'll be a link to it in the description, folks. I do try and take the opportunity as often as I can to feature some custom freeware in videos, and as a way of paying thanks and showing my appreciation to our wonderful freeware development community. And we'll take off 3-4 here at Banja Luka. We'll accept a tailwind component for the departure. Not a video for the purists. It's not a channel for the purists. If you're here and you're looking for real world stuff, I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed. But a general shout out to all of the new viewers, new subscribers. There's been a few come through in recent days in response to a video that I posted the other day featuring the new AAU2 update, specifically the Boeing 787. That video has received almost 5,000 views. Now that might not sound like a lot to you, and to many channels it's not, but to this channel it's huge. I normally get a couple of few hundred views on my videos, and up to 5,000. It's been a couple of days. It's also one of the most disliked videos on my channel, which tells me that the more people watch, the more they dislike. But that's okay, folks. That's alright. My self-esteem is not in any way aligned to dislikes on my YouTube videos. We'll just put something like 6652. There we go. So we've got a flight plan in. Our first waypoint's about 30 miles Derventa, out towards the east. We're using the Auto Slew CDI thing. There'll be a link to it in the description. I did feature it in a previous video. I think we were flying in Texas. Basically, it just aligns your CDI automatically for you. Not necessarily realistic, but very convenient. That's kind of a bit of a theme for this channel. What else do we need to worry about? Probably some trim, although trim's kind of in the range. We'll bring the mixture fully rich. I'm not going to worry about temperature and all that sort of stuff. Don't need flaps. I think we're pretty much right to go. Let's see how this thing flies. I know it sounds fantastic. One of the best sounding aeroplanes in the sim for mine. Let's do it, folks. Listen to that. Here we go. Beautiful. Put a right boot, fella. It's nice to get back in this bird after some time away. We're going to try and rotate around about there. There we go. Oh, she's beautiful. Positive rate and all that. Oh, lovely. Alright folks, I'm going to pause the capture pretty early here. The next time you'll hear my dulcet tones, we'll be in the cruise en route towards Belgrade, and we'll have a look at what the most recent updates to this aircraft have brought. Alright, so settled nicely in the cruise at 7.5. We're generally out of the muck. So far so good. we've kind of got some weather out towards the south, which would be in that direction. And we've got a little bit of weather out towards the north, which would be in that direction, which would mean that we're heading east, which would be that direction. Yeah, so I think we should remain generally in line with VFR criteria for this phase of the flight anyway, folks. Yeah, you can see the weather painting here on the GTNs. It's so great to have the dual GTNs. Just the setup here in this panel, this aircraft, it's just when I rotate it and the climb out, it just feels like they've improved the dynamics again. Like it's gone through a few changes during its life. I don't know whether old mate the developer has actually changed the dynamics again. I'm about to find out. You're about to find out as a result. But it just feels so good to hand fly. Sounds so good, and you know, it's feature rich. And I won't even bring up the tablet and all that sort of stuff today. I've shown that in other videos, and I just can't be bothered today, to be honest. Yeah, really enjoy flying this aeroplane, particularly when I've been flying something very, very different of late. It's nice to get back into it. What I thought I'd show you just before we look at the change logs is, so I do all of my flight planning. Flight planning. well, my idea of flight planning, which is very limited, must be said, in LittleNavMap. And generally you'll see those flight plans at the start of the videos. What I found the other day was a little add-on that brings LittleNavMap into the sim proper. And I'll show you what I mean. So there's this thing called LittleNavMap VR. Now don't let the VR put you off. I clearly don't fly in VR. I can barely say VR. But there's this little add-on which connects in with LittleNavMap. So you've got to have LittleNavMap running, the application, but then it brings up this pop-up window even, moving map display, and also some other information like your flight plan. I like it. I like not having to you know, alt-tab out of the sim in order to sort of view this information. I like having it available here. It's kind of like a poor man's version of an EFB. Well, this thing has an EFB, I suppose. But you know what I mean. If you're running single screen like I am, and I'm guessing a lot of people do, alt-tabbing out and looking at different things kind of ruins the... it doesn't ruin, but it affects your immersion. I love throwing that word into every video if I can. Immersion. I'll just say it twice because I enjoy it so much. Yeah, but it affects it. So to bring it here in the sim, having it as a pop-up window is really nice. Tells you how far you are from your destination, when you expect to arrive. I mean, you've got that information elsewhere in the GPS, but how quick you're covering the ground, what your GPS altitude is, yeah, your flight plan up here. It's pretty nice. LittleNavMap VR is the name of it. There'll be a link to that in the description as well. We'll get rid of that for now. I'll bring up the change logs and we'll have a bit of a chat about those. And here is the change log. Now what I've done for my own benefit, and maybe this will benefit others, I hope so, is I've kind of summarised all of the changes into a different format. This makes it easier for me to kind of process. Because what you get with this aircraft after every update is a text file that's just goes forever. And for me it's a bit difficult visually to kind of identify what the changes are for each version, for me personally. So I've just essentially dumped it into a Word document and put it into a table. So so I've got changes since version 4.1.1. Why? Because that's the last version that I flew. And I think there's a video where we flew in Texas featuring that version. So it's been a little while. I've been out of this bird for a bit. So we're now up to version 4.3.2 is the latest. That's what you're seeing in this video. And I've kind of summarised all the changes since I last flew it. Makes sense? Hope so. I'm not going to read out each one. If there's something here that catches my attention, I'll mention it. Otherwise,
yeah, you can read yourself. And if you have this aircraft, you can also view the text file. Yeah, but I guess one of the reasons I do these videos is because I bought this aircraft from the FlySimware store. There's a delay in when the new versions are available in other locations, including the marketplace. So if you've got it from the marketplace and you're wondering what's coming, this video might have some value to you. So 4.3 circuits and some other systems. I don't really mind. So in 4.3.1 he included a whole bunch of rolled up updates. There will not be any updates for some time unless a hot fix is needed. I think I've read that a few times from this developer. Yeah, and I'm not having a go at him at all. His commitment to the development of this aircraft and his appreciation and response to the feedback that's been provided is highly commendable. Fantastic, it really stands out. Anyway, 4.2.6, new CG and Mac range, righto. Tablet fuel page, fuel, yep, okay. Fuel computer switches. A lot of this stuff I skip through because look, I'm sure it matters to some people, and I appreciate the work that goes into it. It just doesn't matter to me personally. Major update for the binding hardware, whatever. Updated the nav to and from flags on the HSI. Okay, that's probably important. Yeah, he's talking about how to configure the weight and balance. Okay, that's good. Autopilot was using the Copilot's altimeter. Oh, didn't know that. New issues, improve the trim position for level flight and takeoff. That sort of stuff matters to me personally. Improved payload and CG. That matters as well. Manifold gauge was removed from the engine circuit. That's interesting. Would not hold alt mode with high uplifts and downdrafts. I have heard this, and I've experienced it in a much earlier version. I have heard that others have experienced that issue. We found that the AW was slightly nose heavy. Okay. New hardware binding. The sound is updated. Checklist updated. Checklists, what are they? 4.1.2. So, lots of stuff. And as I said earlier, highly commendable the work that goes into this from the developer. A genuine shout out to you, mate. You do good stuff. That's the summary of the changes since I last flew the aircraft. What I will say is that it's flying really well. This is beautiful. Look at that. That's a very different view of our world than what I've been seeing in the last few days. That's very nice. We continue, folks. The next segment will feature an approach, which is generally followed by a landing at our destination. Alright, getting close now, folks. Just down through 5-7 on approaching to Belgrade. We've got about 19 miles to run. I think that would be our airport there, I'm guessing. What I can do is bring up, this is where this little Navmap add-on VR thing comes in quite handy. I can check the weather. Now I've turned real world traffic back on. I've abandoned that LSFTLS, whatever that thing is, for a while. I just wasn't seeing anything. I'm going to guess that I've got it configured incorrectly, or I'm flying in the wrong place at the wrong time. I don't know. I've now got real world traffic starting to come in. I'm following an Air Serbia aircraft down into what looks like runway 12. So LYBE, and I click enter. Somehow I've just taken external view. Anyway, so it tells me runway 12, yeah, plenty of length. Best runway 12, good. That happens to be the quickest way to getting on the ground for me as well. It is VFR. The weather is, wind straight down the strip. Cav OK. Temp 15, dew point 10, 1019, no significant weather to report. There we go, all the stuff. Oh, it's broken down for you. Beautiful. How good's that? That's handy. That's all I want. That's perfect. Jumping back inside though. Jumping back inside though. Oh. Have I paused the sim? Let me address this, folks. I'll join you for a landing. Alright, on final approach, slightly high here. We'll give Georgie a rest. Well done, champ. We need to get down a little bit, mate. So, just following on from that previous segment, I'd accidentally, or unintentionally I should say, put the sim into slew mode. Yes, I think you should use the on-screen keyboard if you're going to use that LittleNavMap VR plugin thing. Yeah, I put the sim into slew mode, which of course has cancelled my FS economy flight. You're not allowed to use slew mode for good reason. So that's kind of a wasted journey in some respects, but I'm going to complete the flight. FS economy, it's not real money. It's not real. Everything's a simulator. Everything's simulated, I should say. So we'll continue the flight because I kind of need the satisfaction of getting this aircraft on the ground. But yeah, interesting little experience there. So yeah, tip to young players: you use the on-screen keyboard if you're going to search in that LittleNavMap VR plugin. We are slowing down, 160 knots now, down through 3,000. We've got 7.5 miles to run. Runway 12 here at Belgrade. Custom freeware version of same. We won't get to really explore that at all in this video, but there'll be a link to it in the description should you wish to do so at your leisure. This aircraft, it flies so beautifully. It's just a very comfy fit. It's like an old pair of jeans. An old pair of jeans, or a couch that you've plunked your ass in for 20 years. You know, it just feels right. I find myself a little bit bamboozled by the heavies, the airliners, and I think it showed in the previous video all the mistakes I made in the 787. And get some flap and get some gear coming out here as well. Yeah, I'm much more at home in the steam gauges and in the props. I think it's a little bit higher. We'll retrim. That wind's holding up nicely for us. 22 knots. Jeez, it's growing in strength as we've got closer to the field. Let's retrim. Just crawling along here now, doing 108 over the ground. Make sure our mixture's right. 125 knots indicated. We've got 3 whites, 1 red, I think. Unless my eyes deceive me. They often do. Take second stage of flap. Radar altimeter has kicked in. Now 1,000 feet above terrain, 3 miles to run. Should start seeing that second red light momentarily. Big stutter. Huge stutter there. I thought the sim was going to crash for a second. Expect the unexpected, although stutters and stuff, particularly with live real world traffic thing turned on, is kind of the norm. There we go, city of Belgrade in the distance. A little bit higher, I'll take final flap now. Props full fine. Wind straight down the strip. Down to 8 knots now. We just moved through a layer there, obviously. Approach at about 100. Two whites, 2 reds. He's become very stuttery with the traffic. Wind's shifting a little. Middle marker.
Here we go, runway 12, Belgrade, Serbia. Alright, a little bit stuttery during the flare, but we are on safely. Folks, thanks for your company in another flight. This has been a look at the recent bunch of updates to the Cessna 414AW Chancellor by FlySimWare. Thanks for your support, folks. Until next time, stay safe, enjoy your simming, and bye for now.